value is truly what it's worth to you. You know what I mean? Or what it's, and you know, at the original value of it is what it's worth. The artist feels it's worth, which can be, holy shit, man. If we priced everything on that concept, you know what I mean? Things would be really fucking expensive. You know, people that are passionate and that, you know, have a craft or skill, like they really, you know, they want to, you know, charge a premium price. And I think, you know, a lot of people don't understand, you know, the high price stuff and you know, the art. Yeah,
there's definitely like tiers to everything. And I know what tier I'm in, you know, so I'm never going to buy a piece that I'm just going to not be able to like sell in the future just in case, I don't know, something happens and I'm just kind of like in a bind. With all these pieces, they're not going to be that hard to move. So I kind of have like a little justification in my head that tells me, hey, it's all right, buddy. It's all right. You bought this. It's yours, but don't worry.
Well, and just like art, just like guns, you know, glass can very quickly be a real asset.
Yeah.
You know, now, just like art, just like guns, you might not be able to get what it was worth to you when you first bought it, but you do have a certain level of asset there that you know, it can be a source of funding if something happens, if shit hits the fan. And I've known plenty of guys that, you know, whatever happened, they're having a baby, they got in a car accident, they had to fix their car or whatever. And they got rid of, you know, some of their glass collection.
It'll probably
dug into their assets, you know, just like, you know, selling a car or, you know, whatever that you've been holding on to.
Yeah. No, there's a few pieces of mine that I probably won't ever get rid of no matter how bad the situation is.
So there's only a couple of guests that have actually, you know, brought their full setup on the show. What's this setup you got here?
So this is by Jake's Glass.
Nice.
They're probably some of the first people that I kind of started talking to and everything. And I've always wanted like a, you know, a Swiss perk. And I kind of saw these guys, they were a little bit cheaper, started talking to them, and I kind of pulled the trigger on the first one by them, which was a flower piece. And then that's kind of where everything started. And this was the latest one, which is their Tangy, which is a recycler. It's function. It's everything I wanted. It's my favorite color. You know, like you said, it's what it connects to you. You know? And that's one of the reasons.
Well, and function's so important. I'm glad you brought that up. You know, I have a lot of glass, and I have glass that I collect because, you know, I think it looks cool or whatever. But there's also, you know, a whole category of function. You know, there are certain rigs that are designed and engineered so perfectly that the function is just flawless. From the percolation to the recycling to the overall hit, it just feels different.
This is my daily. This is what I take to sessions. This is my grab and go, you know, and there's a reason for it.
Yeah, no, you definitely have some heaters. I saw you over at Galileo's opening. And you had some Robertson out there. You had the Orca.
Yeah, the Lacey.
Yeah.
I didn't even mean to buy all this glass that quick. It was supposed to be like a journey, you know? And
like
it just, this opportunity just came up. I was like, that's a steal. It's mine. And next thing you know, I'd be getting packages and I'm just unveiling them. And I'm like, oh, and my lady would just look, you got another one? I'm like,
What was stolen was the money from your account. But like you said, you know, you can't really... that value and the prices, you know, it's all about your enjoyment of it. And then, also just kind of being in Heady culture, like you kind of got to show out. You got to come with, I mean, fuck, when they did the Hash and Headies, they wanted to see your rigs.
Yeah, they wanted to see some rigs, and rigs showed up. You know, they showed out, bro.
You know, why I talked to a guy that he ended up being a judge, and he was like, oh man, they want me to send a picture of my rigs. He's like, I got a bunch of fucking China glass. He's like, what? And I was like, bro, I'll sponsor you, man. You can use some of my rigs. And he ended up buying some rigs and submitted them. And they passed.
That's kind of in the section where I was at. I was just barely getting into it finally, and then I ran out of propane. Butane.
We got some somewhere here, but that hash was fucking kicking. So.
Heck yeah.
So that is that's some fresh press I put in there, some milk bone from Greenleaf actually. They've been sending a bunch of stuff over for rosin. Mm-hmm. They're pretty excited about it, and they've got some good strains in the mix. And then the flower, I cannot remember the name of that flower. But that is from a new place, Freyer Farms. Yeah, so they're really good, man. They're growing some next level shit. This guy definitely is, not a rookie. And the terps on all the flower he's putting out is just fucking next level.
Yeah.
And I really think the market is headed towards the taste good market, and I'm fucking excited.
Yeah, that's all I ever wanted. Taste the terps.
Yeah.
Enjoy the journey to the high. I'd rather take 4 dabs instead of one extremely hot dab burning my. No, 9 out of 10 times. There's that one time that you kind of want to take a little heater, but majority of the time, 9 out of 10 times, I'm always low temp. I like getting the flavor out of everything. We're already spending a premium on everything, so.
Yeah. Well, and I talk to Jesh every night, usually, most nights. But it's usually when I finally fucking get to my dab bar, my area where I dab, and he catches me taking a hot one fucking a few times a week. And then I sit on the phone and fucking walk outside and choke and spit out my fucking life. Yeah, I don't know if hot dabs are ever needed.
Not that hot. I'm talking maybe like a 580. That's
what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Fucking the 600 club, fucking 580. Like, oh fuck.
Yeah, no.
Well, what always gets me, and a lot of dabbers out there might understand this and feel the pain, is I'll be either talking to somebody or fucking already high, and I won't evenly heat the slurper. And I won't really notice that I didn't evenly heat the slurper. So the side I'm temping or the spot I'm temping is of temp.
Yeah.
But then the fucking side's like 600, you know what I mean? Or the fucking the shaft 600 and the bottom's 5. And you're like, oh, fuck, I fucked that up. So.
I've done that a few times. Whenever I was first learning everything, bam, I was like, perfect. But I used to do everything on a timer though.
Yeah, well, rosin is super unforgiving with temperature.
Yeah.
You want to be really in that zone.
Yeah.
I've been taking bigger dabs lately, so I kind of go in at 515, 520.
Yeah.
I definitely used to hover more around 505. Shout out to Running Eagle. He said that was the official fucking dab temp, no matter what. No matter what you're smoking, it's fucking 505.
505 is like a good middle ground for everybody. I mean, I'm typically at 470, and that's mega low.
Yeah.
It's just to get the full flavor and everything.
I have a horrible time taking small dabs, so whenever I go that low, I always just flood it because the dab's too big. If you are taking very small portion dabs, yeah, I think that those lower temps. I had somebody say 430, and I was like, does it even dab at fucking 430? I mean, I guess, but you better have a fucking eyelash fucking of a dab on there.
Yeah, no. See, and that's the good thing about Heady glass that holds its temperature. You know what I mean? When I didn't want to switch over into a slurper that cost me $200, $300. And then
what kind of slurper is that?
It's an Evan Shore. So whenever I never wanted to, and then.
Oh yeah, no big deal.
No. So I finally picked one up and I used it, and the heat retention was like no other. And I can't go back because you retain the heat so much better. So a 470 dab is gonna be.
Let's break this down. Longer. Yeah, let's break this down. So there seems to be kind of an equation here, right? Where it's you want to dab at a lower temperature, but because of the nature, you heat the nail up really hot, and then you let it, and then as it loses temperature, it starts cooling down faster.
Yeah.
Right? It's just how the thermal dynamics work or whatever. So if you can get material that holds heat for longer, then you can get a lower temperature dab.
For a longer duration.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's where the value in these $200 or $300 bangers are.
Yeah.
Is that
I didn't want to believe it.
Yeah, you're going to get the most out of your hash out of that investment, but it also will break for no reason.
Yes. They break the same as the $50 ones, the $30 ones.
Yeah, because they're just weak parts in the design.
Yeah, right? I mean,
held on by
whatever. Somebody might argue this, but when you're dunking them fucking in ISO and you're clanking them with marbles and pearls and pills, they fucking break just the same.
Well, think about metal. Whenever you heat it up and it cools down, I mean, glass has to be the same way. If it heats
glass
up, cools
is way
down,
worse.
it's gonna start to weaken.
Yeah,
it has to
for sure.
People trying to get ice off of their windshield with hot water will find out really fast.
I've done it. Fucking pissed, and I knew too. I was like, "You motherfucker!" You knew this was gonna happen.
That's exactly why they started. Like, that's why they use quartz. You know what I mean? They know what they're doing, but they're not built to last a lifetime.
No, the Evan Shores are amazing. There's some good stuff out there. I'll have to make a confession. I have a lot of really heady glass, but because I'm just a fucking barbarian, I buy, the fucking cheap slurpers.
See, and you know who called me out on this?
Mid-level. I guess I'm going to say mid-level.
Mid-level, okay.
I'm not going to admit.
No, I was full cheapy.
Oh, no, those. No.
Yeah,
I don't do those. Those are shit. Those you almost can't keep from getting chazzed because they're so thin. Like
they were a little bit thicker. I just got them at a really good price because he was a buddy of mine.
Yeah, so I would go mid, like bare quartz and above.
Okay,
you know what I mean. And then there's some good ones out there. There's some good mid, but fuck, dude, they all break the fucking same, and I get so upset. Even if I could fucking afford it, I'm pissed when they break.
I got a homie who's been through 4 bear slurpers in the past 2 months.
No, he's just not taking care of it.
Yeah, the bears are decent, bro. For the economy level, they're a little thicker than your fucking cheaps, and Evan Shore's like the standard. That's why we were laughing. And I'm also laughing because I was definitely there. I definitely there was a time when I was fucking full on fucking heady, and I definitely convinced myself of some pretty crazy purchases.
No, I honestly would rather have if I was to choose between the rig and a nail, and I'm thinking just I'm doing it for terps, things like that. I'd rather have the nail be the best quality.
And it should be. And there's definitely some
I was fucking up.
Something to say there. Because at the end of the day, you could almost be hitting out of anything. And if the banger is just perfect and on point. And the pearl setup really has something to do with it. And a lot of guys don't realize that too. You want the right pearl setup. Not necessarily, you don't have to have the most expensive pearl setup, but you want the right shape and size for each, because every fucking slurper now is different. There's many different styles. Like this one doesn't have a valve. So you just have your top marble and a pill in there right now, a nice wide fat pill. But there's no valve. There's no third marble in there. So you gotta know and you gotta get the right setup for your function.
Exactly. Yeah, no. This was just as simple as this is how the piece came too. You know what I mean? I got a good deal on this. Like I said, I got these for a steal.
Oh, it came with the
But he added it on for an extra price.
Yeah, of course.
So I was like, whoa, yeah, I'm gonna take it on.
I'll definitely have to say most of my pieces were secondhand, and as an extractor, definitely involved hash trade. So I definitely got some good deals. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Like I said, one of those things where. Different
I see
values.
A good deal, man. I'm jumping. Yeah. I'm jumping. That's the Mexican in me, man. I'm jumping, bro. I got to get that good deal.
The color on that rig, man. It's straight up Florida orange.
Yeah, it's tangy, man.
Yeah,
the guys killed it.
Citrus terps taste better out of that.
Oh, bro, the first thing I did. Okay, so this came in the mail. I was mad stoked. I took it out. I did a little pre-rinse on everything, and then I got the Point Break, actually, which is a super citrus terp, and I just hit that and it felt perfect. It felt like the whole world's aligned fucking perfectly.
Cartoon version, fucking orange slices in the eyes. Fucking ding, 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 ding. So now that we're pretty properly baked, why don't we go ahead and introduce yourself? Welcome to the farm table.
Hey, I appreciate you for having me.
Why don't you tell those that don't know who you are and what you do?
Well, my name is Cruz with Stonehead, and I pretty much do reviews online,
Okay.
And mostly hash reviews, a lot of rosin, a lot of rosin. I'll do a hash hole or some flour here and there, but that's pretty much everything in a whole.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I've seen some other reviews on there. But yeah, mostly rosin. Definitely can tell that that's your go-to.
Absolutely.
you know, we were just talking about this. We just had Z Labs on, winner of Fashion Headies.
Yes. Big congratulations to him.
Oh, dude, he's an awesome guy. Excuse me. But yeah, we're really seeing that crowd in New Mexico stand out.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't that many of them that, you know, few years back. Obviously, there's been, you know, I'm gonna get fucking in the DMs, but there's been rosin heads since fucking there's been rosin out here. For
Absolutely.
Of course,
yeah.
But as a large group and as a purchasing group, you know what I mean. We haven't seen it as much on any side of the industry out here. You know, street or regulated.
Yeah.
So I think the allure of concentrates has really grown. The amount of people using concentrates has really grown. And just like any market, as it grows, they're gonna flock towards the different styles and the different offerings and the different levels of quality out there. And good rosin is fucking, you know, good rosin is hard to beat, especially from the consumer level. Yeah. So.
Yeah, no. That's all I'm after is a really, really good taste. I mean, we're finally at a point where we're starting to get these amazing flavors out of this beautiful plant. You know, we've come so far. So why are we not? I think we're advancing so fast.
I really admire your reviews because you put yourself out there. You have a good personality, you have a good energy, and it doesn't feel, you know, when you see a critic that doesn't videotape themselves or doesn't give any detail or doesn't actually talk to people, you get kind of like they're hiding behind something. You know, they're just typing it out. When you get a critic and you get somebody reviewing that is actually explaining to you, you know, taking the dab, explaining to you why they like it, also writing it out, of course, but walking you through it, I think you get a very genuine feel of like, okay, you know, this guy's not only a nice guy, but seems like he knows what he's talking about. I really like the level of criteria that you use. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So, I mean, whenever I started doing everything, I knew what I liked. I knew what was good. I knew what was kind of out there. So whenever I finally found like a product that kind of surprised me, you know, based out of New Mexico, I was like, whoa, you know, this is pretty cool. You know, I've been here my whole life. I was born in Clovis and all that. But finally, I'm like, whoa, this is actually pretty good, you know, because sad to say, I you know, you go somewhere else.
It's hard to find good stuff out there. It is. It is sad, and it needs to be said.
Yeah,
for
but
many
now,
years, it's been really hard to find good quality, especially on the dispensary shelf.
Yep. And now, you know, I'm starting to see everyone just starting to shine out and all that. But it started from that. I wanted to share it with everyone. I was just like, you know what? Let's just. Want to show my face. We're talking about this. I wanted it to feel personal, like you're holding it, like you're touching it.
Well, that's cool. And I'm glad you mentioned that. So no, you don't show your faces on the review, but you talk people through it, and it's obviously you dabbing.
Yeah.
But that's cool. That's also like a mysterious element where we're getting to know you. You know, it feels like we're getting to know you when we watch your reviews, but also like we don't know you. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then there is that. I like that. I like that effect. And I think that, you know, even when you've given like negative review, not even negative, but when you've given low reviews, low scoring reviews, you're always pretty positive about it. You know, kind of a let's do better next time.
Yeah, that's all I want. I don't want to put anyone down that's trying. I want them to at least. This guy's being a yes man. Yes. This is good. But we're hearing over here that this is like not so good. Let's sit down and talk about it.
The other thing that I've literally heard you say, and you know, I don't know if it's on purpose or not, but you've said that you're willing, even stuff you don't like, you're willing to try again. And you've even said like, hopefully, you know, try this again or try a different flavor, different strain, or hopefully these guys, you know, get better next time.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. You know, there's a lot of people, they get one bad fucking experience and they will like cancel or ban that brand in their mind. Like, I'll never try that again. When I definitely see you being a little more forgiving and like, hey, this could have been like.
I believe in everybody, man. I literally do.
That's cool.
So I want to revisit it in the future. And hey, if it still sucks, it still sucks. But if they got better, it's kind of like, okay, maybe this helped them achieve that, you know? So I just want fire in the state.
That's cool. That's super positive. We need more of that in the state, in the fucking country. And that's cool. That's cool. There's not a lot of forgiving critics out there, so I think you have something unique there.
I didn't even know I was doing it.
Yeah,
to be completely honest with you,
I've seen it on multiple things. You're like, hope they try to, I'll try this again, or hope they do better next time. Yeah. I've heard multiple things that, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. You usually don't see that from a critic. They, like I said, one bad experience, they're done, never again. And you have a very off with their head mentality there. Yeah. Nobody wants to be treated like that. You know what I mean? Everybody wants a second chance. As a manufacturer, of both rosin and other stuff, BHO, all kinds of stuff, edibles, we make concentrates from all different producers. So there is a chance that one's going to be better than the other. I mean, it happens all the time. Not all cannabis is created equal. We try really hard to get it to a level where we're showing the best representation of that specimen. But hiccups happen, and not everything's the most amazing cannabis that comes through here. You know what I mean? But
it's not intentional.
On the other side, we strive, we go out and purchase, we have a whole pile of producers that send us nothing but fire.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when somebody does have a bad experience, or not even a bad experience, they're like, I really didn't like this one. I often tell them, well, hey, people are like, well, I don't have live. They don't have it wherever I'm going. And I tell people, hey, there's a lot of places out there right now. Find the one that has, live, if that's what you're after. A lot of people, I've had people complain over the craziest thing. They bought a strawberry flavored distillate cart and were upset it didn't taste like weed. And you know what I mean? Or on the opposite, bought a Granddaddy Perp distillate cart, and they're like, well, why doesn't it taste like the Granddaddy Perp that I smoked this one time? And it's like,
yeah.
So, I'd same thing. I'd push both of those people. Hey, why don't you try some live terpene products? They're going to be the closest representation of the plant.
Absolutely.
And it's the same thing with hash rosin.
It's the first step.
Yep. Same thing with live hash rosin. Same thing with live resin. You're going to get the best tasting, most potent, most pure experience, you know what I mean, that you're not going to get from a distillate, that you're not going to get from even a cured product of the same caliber.
Yeah.
When we extract live specimens, we're capturing something that quickly degenerates.
Yeah.
And quickly, as you cure your cannabis, as you cure your product, as you dry it, as you whatever, you lose a ton of flavor and aroma.
Absolutely. And that's one of my buddies. He had a collection of flower. And I told him like right away, and he knows who I'm talking about. I told him, I was like, bro, you have to smoke that at some point because it's going to go bad. Or whenever you come to smoke that in the future, you're not going to enjoy it. And you're not going to be able to taste it the way that it was intended, So that was...
there might be some ways. But the average guy...
Ways. No.
The average guy does not, know. And... no, it's going to taste like fucking dust eventually.
Yeah.
Because it is going to degrade. And, granted, you'll probably get some guys like, oh, you could freeze it, or you could this, you could that. Extracts are a little different story. Extracts, you can kind of encapsulate it, keep light, air, and heat away from it. And you can preserve it for a long period of times. But flower, oh man, it's hard. Oh,
trying to keep a flower alive. I mean,
yeah, exactly. So, no, there's a whole level to fresh products, even fresh weed. Like if you can get cannabis right after it's cured, like just in that fresh level where it's perfect. The grower's like, yep, it's ready today.
There's nothing like it.
There's nothing like it. It gets you, in my opinion, it gets you higher. It gets you, I don't want to say higher. That's the wrong.
It's the experience. You just enjoy.
A better experience. And that's the same thing with extracts. If you can get something that was extracted, in that live level, man, it's a better experience. And I think that most people, if they had the options and truly were like, here, try this, try that, try this, try that, they would choose live every time and find a way to get it. So what's next for Stonehead? I noticed that you've gone from doing the reviews to creating your own merch.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was kind of designing stuff because the team that I work with, because I truly work with artists and a team, they help me. I do Stonehead, but I have people behind me to help achieve what I want to with it, So like my designers are a bunch of my buddies. So I always hit them up like, hey, can you do this for me? Can you do this for me? So it's just kind of like, I grew up working that style with them, always trying to just, design stuff together. And it's just kind of like reliving those moments because I'm just bringing all my old friends that I used to really hang out with all together. And we're just like, it's one unit and I can literally watch this and kind of just all the love from us, Yeah.
That's cool, man. That's cool. That's cool that, you can say that you've, got some of your friends involved in what you're doing. What actually made you decide you wanted to do reviews? What pushed you to that point?
So like I said, it was just that it was a sawmill product, I was just like, whoa, wait, this is okay.
Some rosin?
Yeah, it was rosin. And I was like, okay, I want to share this, because I didn't know. So there has to be other people that don't know. So I went on this giant search, literally just driving and buying rosin. Anytime I'd hear about anyone new, I'd just go and buy it and start, But now, like, I'm starting to see more on the market. I'm traveling this way and that way, and they don't have the product that I'm kind of looking for. So I got to make special time now. But I'm still trying to, find the newest products and just rating them and sharing it with the world.
As a brand owner, you really rely a lot on word of mouth, on people trying your products and raving about them, on bud tenders, on all different things to try to get your product highlighted.
Yeah.
So I think it's really cool. I think, if you have products out there that people like, and you have somebody taking the time to videotape and give an opinion and tell people, hey, you got to try this. This is good. That's so valuable to a brand, to a specific brand. And then like you said, on the other side of it, even when it's constructive and there's criticism, it can often help people grow and help people, change and help people say, okay, fuck, we better go
they
back
might be tossing me the middle finger. I don't know. But
most of the time,
in my head,
most people don't take.
In my head, in a perfect scenario, that's what I want to happen. But I do it for fun. I personally really enjoy it. So I'm gonna continue to do it as long as I enjoy it. You know what I mean? Until it starts to feel like a chore or like I don't love it anymore. Then because I do this all with passion and love, 100%.
What's next? What do you want to go into next?
I want to start telling people's story.
Okay,
like a documentary style, mom and pop shops, like a few dispensaries, manufacturers.
So going more into like the videography of it and actually producing.
Yep. So that's why I started I started on Instagram doing getting 8 to 15 minutes of video footage and condensing it all into 1:30.
Okay.
So whenever I went to through my idea, I was like, whoa, I haven't edited a long form video in a very long time. And I was just like, okay, let me get some test footage and stuff. And I was like, whoa, what the hell? I don't know what I'm doing anymore. So I just started recording myself on the adventures that I started doing on YouTube to kind of start figuring out how I want to piece these videos together. So I'm training myself initially, and now I have all the equipment that I need to start with that. So I'm going to
That's cool, man. That's
the next big step.
I did see one where you kind of started at your computer.
Yeah.
That was
Nomad. Shout out to them,
That was Nomad.
Yeah, out in Tatum, and now they're out in Hobbs, and they're growing.
That was cool because you highlighted, how to find them.
Yeah.
You went in, you did a whole thing. So yeah, I think people want to see more of that. My guys will come in and be like, oh, have you been to, blank? We love that dispensary. And I'm like, no, I haven't. I go check it out, and it's cool, man. There's a lot of hidden gems in a sense out here,
and that's
people
kind
don't
of
know
what
about.
I want to start doing But it's only me, and I got my guy Hunter, and I got TJ, and it's just gonna be us three kind of filming, and then I go back home and just edit everything.
Well, and this is really a hobby in a sense for you, because you have a full-time job.
I have a full-time job. I have side hustles. Like I'm always moving. I don't like standing still. So that kind of comes into like doing everything, because I like staying busy.
That's cool, man. It's cool to see a young guy that's ambitious and trying to put something positive out there. I think there's so many people that use the internet for the other thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see that all the time.
Yeah, for negativity, for shitty stuff. And I think it's cool that somebody, is taking the time out of their day to, do something positive, do something cool.
And it's cool just as well as everyone's like received me, because I've always just been like by myself, just smoking weed, and then finally one day I opened the door and I was like, okay. And then next thing you know, I'm over here, I'm over there, but people have welcomed me. So shout out to them. Shout out to everyone in the industry.
I think the cannabis community is fairly welcoming if you're genuine. If you come in and you seem like you have an ulterior motive, or you're really just being fake, I think that a lot of times that's when people's guards go up and they won't be as friendly. But I think if you possess true, genuine energy and you're not there to, do something ill, what I mean, or whatever, I think that you can easily be accepted into the cannabis community. They're not super judgmental, in a sense.
It's crazy. I've been all the way up north, down south, here in Albuquerque, the eastern side. I don't really talk too much people where I'm from, but it's just because of the connections that I've made through the Instagram and just the whole community, like I said.
Because you haven't been doing it very long, right?
No, I started the page back in February of this year.
So it's all within this year.
Yeah, it's all within this year. Yeah, and it's crazy because like the first form of content that I ever made was weed content, and I was like 13 years old.
Okay.
Which is crazy. I uploaded it on YouTube, and one day like my username clicked in my head, I searched it up, and sure as hell was there.
Yeah. So Clovis, so you said you're from Clovis.
Yeah.
How has it been? Have they always been friendly to cannabis?
No.
Okay.
But the people I hung out with were, you know what I mean? It's just kind of, but we always kept it on the down low, but we'd go smoke behind the movie theater and stuff,
of course.
But it's very, very shamed. And, I'm like full, like Mexican. So like growing up, it's just like, this is the worst thing in the world.
Well, so you see both sides with, we talked about that with somebody else recently, is you see both sides of it. You'll see Mexican families that are okay with cannabis. And then there's a whole lot of them that are not strict, at all. Yeah, no, it's the devil, literally.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But my brother was like openly smoking, and then they're just like, this, that. And then they finally just accepted it. And I was like, oh shit, we're good. Yeah. All right, we're chill. We can, all right.
Yeah, so that's funny. That's funny. Do you think the kind of stigma has changed in Clovis since recreation, since adult use was passed?
I think so.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Because everyone's kind of open to it now, especially the people around me. Like even my dad, like he said, it's not even that bad. Like I heard him say that the other day. I was like, what the hell did you just say? And then people that I hang around with that were conservative are open about it now. So it's just like, all right, cool. They were just waiting for the government to say that it's okay, I guess. I don't know. I don't know their mentality.
Yeah. So it's funny. And the reason I'm smiling is I was just thought of something. Me and my wife were at an event, a pop-up the other day for, we had a table set up there at a dispensary, and we watched like 5, I'd say 60 plus, 60s, 70s, older ladies, Hispanic ladies walk out of the dispensary all with their own little bag and, all pumped, and they were, off to their car. And me and my wife smiled like, it wasn't something that you're used to seeing, like, some little group of friends, group of old ladies that all smoked. You know what I mean?
It's cool. You know what I mean? It's finally welcomed, and more people are just open to it and trying to, and they're just like, oh, it's not that bad.
Yeah. Well, and that's where I really think the stigma will kind of dissolve when people just realize, the fact of the matter is all those ladies probably realized they fucking threw away 10, 15 prescriptions.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Stop drinking, stop fighting with their fucking old man, like all kinds of stuff. And just from smoking a bowl.
Yeah. Just chill you out. Yeah, absolutely.
At the end of the day, if they were getting the right stuff, it tasted good. It's enjoyable. it's chill and it doesn't fucking hurt anybody.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't hurt anyone. It's chill. It's not like they're putting like poison or anything. You know what I mean? It's just a plant. Like
the harm reduction value of cannabis over the alternatives for what ails you is fucking huge. You know, you have an incredible level of harm reduction, you know, coming off of, you know, from heroin to cannabis, from, you know, all the hard prescription painkillers and muscle relaxers and, you know, tranquilizers and mood stabilizers. You have such a difference, such a harm reduction when you see somebody trade those things for cannabis of whatever sort.
Yeah, 100%.
And man, if the world really understood that, could you imagine like how many people would be saved in a sense?
Exactly. But what are they? They're just a bunch of hippies. You know what I mean? It's just like, wait,
well,
what?
And it takes, you know, they say that's the senior citizens are the largest growing demographic
now. Absolutely.
For cannabis use. It's going to take that it's going to take all of them realizing they were wrong all these years.
Yeah. And now they're using it for their arthritis and their pain and everything. So, I mean, it's insane because they asked me for my grandfather, you know what I mean? They came to me, they're like, hey, do you have any products for him? Because he has this. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, for sure I do.
Of course.
Don't ever question it, throw it in their face or anything.
Yeah.
It's just like you're like, damn, that's crazy. Like I said, people are more open to it now, at least in my area.
It's cool. It's cool. You know, I think people really are. I've had tons of people, you know, just because, you know, what we do, you know, message me that, you know, that I never would have thought or that I definitely knew didn't use cannabis. Just kind of poking around about it, asking questions about it. So, yeah, I think unfortunately, it takes, you know, the governing body to tell you you're allowed to do something for people to start saying, oh, maybe it's not that bad. You know, maybe all these hippies and stoners were right all these years. But it's really cool to see society start to like dissolve that stigma of cannabis use.
Oh, absolutely. And just starting to dissolve other stigmas of marijuana makes you lazy and this and that, you know, and that's not really true. So,
well, and I think at this point we've seen, you know, I mean, fucking Michael Phelps style, the highest level athlete, you know, use cannabis, you know, to the, you know, most successful, you know, men, women in the world.
Yeah. MMA fighters too.
Huge.
Yeah.
And, you know, shout out Jackson Wink MMA Academy. We're sponsors over there and huge supporters of combat sports in general. We actually started the Cannabis Combat Collective.
Oh, dang.
Where we're getting a bunch of cannabis companies together to kind of, you know, promote combat sports and promote the relationship with cannabis and combat. Thanks for saying that, Josh. But yeah, there's huge connection there. There's an incredible amount of, you know, pain relief, recovery, just huge training
MMA
advantages.
Is like the most high impact sport because you're getting impacted literally.
So. Inflammation. You know, you got cannabinoids. You know, they haven't fucking let us claim much, but they have let us claim that cannabinoids are, you know, one of the biggest, you know, best anti-inflammatory, you know, substances that you can take. So yeah, no, I mean, these guys that are beating on each other, getting beat up, just pushing their bodies to the
limit,
to the peak. They need that, you know, inflammation aid. They need that help with recovery that they're just, you know, they're not going to get from, you know, something better than cannabis.
Yeah, for sure.
That's really cool to see, you know, different things
starting to not test for it and really, you know, it's a great thing, man. Exactly. It brings me happiness, you know.
You know, I'm curious if you guys think that the older crowd, the growing demographic, the older crowd of people who are buying and using cannabis now, if a portion of those people ever become heady, will ever join the connoisseur, because there's old guys
hell yeah,
there's old guys who like their cigars, there's old ladies who enjoy their vintage wine and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, no, and the answer is yes. I don't think it's huge.
No, but some people are definitely gonna convert. You know what I mean? Yeah. And shout out to those people. You know?
Yeah. Well, and we, you know, we witnessed an older gentleman. I don't want to guess his age, but he was older. He came out for our Good Life Gang meetup, and he got that badass dome piecer fucking proxy attachment.
That shit was tight,
dude. That shit was hard. Like I was honestly like, he was sitting there with it, and I was like, "Where'd you get that, bro?" And he's like, "Over there." And I was like, "Oh fuck, did he have any more proxy?" And he's like, "No, this is the last one." Fucking nice, huh? I was like, damn, bro, got swiped by the old guy at the party, but no, it's cool, and I fucking love it. You know what I mean? He ended up being an awesome guy, business owner, very smart man. Actually getting into manufacturing himself, but yeah, no, there's a huge demand for cannabis paraphernalia and different types of smoking instruments.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see what the future holds, because we've come a long way. Like a Puffco, Cartas. What? How is it so convenient? Like, it's not as like, terrorized. Oh, shoot, I'm out.
Well, and I've stopped breaking fucking glass. Like, I mean, knock on wood, hard knock. But I've stopped breaking glass, just keeping it the fuck at home and taking my Puffcos. I break Puffco fucking Puffco glass now.
I'd rather break that as long as it's not Heady glass.
It's replaceable. You know what I mean? Like certain pieces of glass aren't replaceable. But yeah, dude. I mean, Puffco has allowed me to stay dabbing all day long, and wherever I want.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I hit my Puffco a ton. I hit my Carta a ton. Now I just rotate him on which one's clean. I love keeping my stuff clean. So.
Well, I'm not a big drinker, so when I'm out in public, go to Vegas, go out, even go out somewhere in town.
Yeah,
I have my Puffco. Like, you know what I mean? That's in my. It's almost like I have a mixed drink in my hand. I got my Puffco right there.
See, and I don't like to drink that much anymore. I still do.
Yeah,
but
of course,
I 100% prefer to just sesh up with the boys than go out and drink, because that next day kind of sucks.
Once again, harm reduction. You know what I mean? You can. I feel you can get to a good level of feeling good. And
I get high as hell, and then the next day I'm perfectly fine.
Yeah. Well, and last night, so. One of the guys, they gave me a chocolate sample from the kitchen, and they were canceling it because it wasn't labeled. There's just a couple boxes, and they were like, here, we're not sure if it's 50 milligrams a piece or 10 milligrams a piece, so we're canceling these 4 boxes that got left to the side. And I went home, so I didn't know, so it's kind of like roulette. And I took one and I ate dinner, and didn't really feel it, and I was like, oh sweet, must be a 10. So I went back and fucking clobbered the box of them real quick, because they're fucking delicious. And I was good. I slept great.
Slept like a king.
Yeah, no, I wasn't even groggy this morning. Woke up 5:30, was good, no problems. And yeah, I could imagine if I just decided to take fucking, drink 6 glasses of fucking whiskey, fucking, what I mean?
Hell.
Right, 9 o'clock at night or whatever. Just, I'm gonna feel it in the morning. I'm gonna have to prep for it. You know what I mean? I'm gonna have to drink so much water and
just mentally be like, oh goddamn. Yeah.
And drink water with your edibles too. They'll definitely dry you the fuck out.
Cheers.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that function looks nice.
She's wonderful. You can pull a lot of smoke from.
What'd you just hit?
That was garlic juice.
Garlic juice.
Yep, by Sandbox.
Nice.
He kills it.
What's their company called?
Best Buds.
Best Buds, Baked Buds. I thought it was Baked Buds.
Baked Buds. There you go. I was about to check, but I'm recovering.
Cool.
No. Excited to see him hit the market, especially with products like that. So that's pretty dope.
I've known Sandbox for a while. He always has good tasting stuff. Those guys really do, him and the whole group of growers that he comes from do a really good job of trying to always find good phenos and.
That's
really,
so amazing.
Yeah,
man.
they really produce good tasting stuff. Speaking of, how everything's, starting to taste a little better.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be cool to see him hit the market and try what he's got out there. Who else do you got here? You got Yendo.
I got Yendo. That there is probably the most consistent, probably best terps in the state. I believe, in my personal opinion, I truly believe Yendo's doing it very, very correctly.
They're good. And who else here? We got Harvest.
We got Harvest, El Chivo number 9. It's fire. They do a great job too.
Nice.
I got some WCA. People know
Cali boys.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know, I just like really good flavors.
But that's cool because
my arsenal contains New Mexico now.
Yeah, we got 75% New Mexico, 25% Cali.
Yeah.
That last year, that would have been different.
Yeah, way different.
Last year or two ago, you would have seen 75%, if not 100% Cali, and you were lucky. You might have had some of the homie shit, in the head stash.
Some Colorado 710 or something.
Yeah. So it's really cool to see,
like I said, it makes me happy, man.
Yeah, a guy here that's actually smoking, not only are you smoking mostly New Mexican products, but it's kind of cool that you can put him up against, what is one of the most well-known Cali products out there.
Mm-hmm.
So, and terps are great on all 4 of those specimens. Really, really proud of what I'm seeing brought to the table.
Exactly, me too. And that's all I want to see is just all this fire. And then I know who I can compare to these guys. And like you said, that's wonderful. Yeah, I get you. We're ready. We're getting ready for another dab.
I'm gonna go back to this Yendo.
Yeah, OGKB 2.1. That thing is special.
It is.
Show the camera.
It is so fucking. It's so beautiful. Fucking wet.
It's beautiful.
Oh yeah.
If I didn't know any better, dude, I would say this was fucking BHO, dude. How wet it is.
Yeah, this man.
It's incredibly. Not that I'm saying that. I know it's rosin. Don't fucking.
Yeah. So Yendo and Alabastra definitely do a kick-ass job, and I'm very, very, very excited.
Where's Yendo out of?
So he's out of Albuquerque.
Is it? Is it an Albuquerque operation?
Yes, Albuquerque operations.
Okay.
I believe they hit the market the 15th. Yeah, they said that they're going to be dropping on the 15th in Galileo. So I hope people got it. I didn't get a confirmation, so don't quote me on it.
I don't know why I thought that they were out of town. I don't know.
Thought so too.
They're here.
Maybe it's the name. The name sounds
exotic.
Sounds exotic.
I made you say it.
Nice way to say foreign. Fucking exotic. I like that. See, you're such a nice guy, Cruz. Yeah, it's good, man.
Yeah, they do a great job. Another person that I really, really like, that if you get their single source, it's special, and it's Putang Pie by Cruz's Craft Cannabis.
You did. You had me try that, and then I had them. We had them on the podcast too. The day I saw you last.
Yeah, that'll actually have aired before this one. So,
okay,
yeah.
But that fucker didn't bring the peach.
Oh.
He just, what did he call it? Just peach rings, right?
Peach rings, yeah. He calls it peach rings, but it's called Putang Pie. I call it peach rings, but I wanted to make sure I called it by the right thing. But
it was, and I even talked about it. It was amazing, dude. It was it was like peach fucking candy, bro.
Yes.
Like no joke.
It tastes like a peach ring without the sugar on the outside. It's insane.
You hear some shit. That's almost one of my like most satisfying things in life. Everybody likes what they like. I like when terps taste like the name. And you're like, oh,
it does. Yeah, 100%. I get so psyched for that too. I know that feeling.
That is one thing that is like one of the most satisfying. There's like, people like seeing the shit painted all evenly and like stuff peeled off. Dude, shout out the ones that are growing that just, you couldn't have named it something else.
Exactly.
It's so fucking on point.
I'm right there with you.
There's some out there. Dwayne, one of my guys, grows a caramel cream. Have you tasted Dwayne's caramel cream?
No.
It fucking tastes like fucking caramel, bro. It's a weird fucking terp. Like it's, I can't say it's my absolute favorite terp, but good weed. But it fucking tasted like a caramel cream. I'm like, oh, that's perfect fucking name for this shit. So it's cool, man. There's some terps out there that just
they're mind blowing.
Yeah,
and that's what I want to find. But I want to find it in the rec market because then it's available to everybody.
And they're peaking out. They're,
you know,
they're
the traditional's fine, you know, but we're helping feed other people's that are trying to, you know what I mean? It's different whenever you're starting a business, and let's support the homies too. We're trying to support it both ways, and I hate when other people are trying to shame people, you know?
Well, and I'm gonna set the record straight. I'm glad you said traditional. I like to call it pre-market. You know, some people call it black market. I have no fucking problem with the black market.
Oh.
And I have no problem with the white market. I got a problem with the gray market. I got a problem with the motherfuckers that go legit and then don't follow.
You chose your lane.
Yep,
Absolutely.
Yep. So if you want to stay pre-market, you know, a lot of us, you know, that's where we came from. And, you know, I know exactly where the fuck I came from. So that's cool. No disrespect. Do your thing.
Yeah, no
but
disrespect
at all. As soon as you start paying fucking taxes, as soon as you're
that's
fucking
what I'm
licensed,
saying. You chose. Yeah. That's exactly
you are
what
white market, and I don't want to see no motherfucker. I'm not cool with that. I'm not cool with the fucking gray market. There's, you know, a certain level that you have to and a standard that you have to play at. And if you're not willing to do that, just get the fuck out. Go back to the other side. Like, they're welcoming. Like, you know what I mean? Go do that. But no, don't play both. That's been fucking one of my pet peeves for a long time.
I could agree. Honestly, I could agree. I could agree.
So, what do you think about the High Times?
What do I think?
We didn't talk about the High Times Cup coming.
So, High Times Cup. I'm very excited, man.
Yeah.
I'm very happy to see these things coming to New Mexico, you know. It's really shining a light in our community that we, you know, that we all stand together and that we shine bright, which is really, really nice. And that goes out to Hash and Headies, and that goes out to High Times. You know, I respect both, and I'm very happy that both are happening. That happened and are happening.
Same thing here, man. I feel the same way. You know, obviously there's a lot of people that tried to like choose sides.
Yeah, I don't want to choose a side. I have
over the
everybody.
Competitions that highlight, you know, the industry and what we all love. No, for me, there's no choosing sides. For me, I'm going to support anything that's highlighting New Mexico and anybody that wants to take the time and effort to do something to highlight all the people that are working hard in this industry.
Yep.
So, no, I think Hash and Headies was great. I think it was a good turnout. Really cool.
Amazing.
Like I said, seeing everybody. I think High Times is amazing. I think it's going to be awesome. I think their live in-person event's going to be cool. And I think that just the fact that competition has decided to come to our state is awesome. There's nothing but positive that can come from
it. Exactly. You know, it's going to help a lot of people out that are like, okay, High Times was here, and you know what, let's try this, let's try that, you know, and it's going to help a lot of people. I think it's good. Competition's always good.
Well, and at the end of the day, you know, there's competitions that mix the markets like we were just talking about. There's competitions that are just for licenses, license to license. Licenses want to hear from the people that are purchasing stuff at the dispensary.
Mm-hmm. See, and I get that. See, that's why I do more of that market, because, you know, that's where more people are more confident to buy.
At the end of the day,
but I do both.
Yeah. Well, and at the end of the day, the Heady market is, you know, in between.
Yeah.
They're caught in the middle because, they do want to try flavors from, you know, different places. And, you know, but there is a whole group of people that they don't have the plug.
Yeah.
They don't have they don't know Joe. You know what I mean? They just don't know. And they have to rely on the market that's in front of them.
Absolutely.
So those people matter. Those they definitely matter, especially to someone like me, and someone that has, you know, a legal brand.
Yes.
So we want to hear from them. And I think someone like High Times to create a structure and create a way to judge products, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, both sides, both of them did something incredible. Yeah. So I'm very happy to see it. And then you have two sanctioning bodies. It's just like, okay, we got two winners. Maybe we'll see them compete one day and who wins, you know?
Yeah.
So that's always great.
Exactly. Well, and, you know, for those that don't understand it or don't know, Hash and Headies was just rosin.
Just rosin, yes. No. High Times has
solventless, live hash rosin. I don't think anybody was ballsy enough to enter.
No, hell no.
Anything but.
There are some question marks there, but definitely none of that.
But whereas High Times is everything from edibles to fucking pre-rolls to flour to, and for somebody to pull off, somebody local,
yes, exactly,
to pull off a competition of that size where they're gonna do umpteen entries of this, umpteen entries, categories or whatever. That's fucking almost impossible. For somebody, I'm not saying it can't be done. Fucking,
but it's hard. It's
if
very
somebody
hard.
can do it, I urge them to put it on, because I'll support that competition too. And like I said, anything that highlights New Mexico and what we're doing.
Yep.
And the cannabis industry in a whole. I support all the events and award shows, out of state too.
Absolutely.
I think that once again, it drops and it helps eliminate the stigma that cannabis is a bad thing. So what do you think about all this CCD stuff in the news?
CCD stuff in the news, man.
Have you seen them cracking down on a lot of licenses?
I've heard about that, okay. And I mean, there's rules for a reason. We know what they need to be played by. So you know what I mean? They're written out. So
now they're taking it. I don't know, and I guess I should have said most recent news because I guess there's always stuff in there. But so now they're taking it to a public meeting where they're actually going to try to change some regulation.
I talked to Chad about that, or he mentioned it to me. I don't know too much about it, but he had mentioned it. He said this could change a lot of things, and that's the last I heard about it. But
they're proposing a lot of things. They're proposing kind of some of the what I would going to call old school rules. I don't think they're the worst things. They have a lot to do with people that are entering, and if they're actually able to sustain. So they're talking about wanting to check financial records to make sure you can afford to have a cannabis business.
I mean, that makes sense.
They're talking about facility checks,
okay,
which once again, in my opinion, should have been done. But pre-licensing facility checks, like, hey, you can't get this licensing unless you have the facility and you're able. That's what DOH used to do. You used to have to fucking have your lab grow, you name it, completely operational with no operations happening. You had to have literally every machine in place ready to go with no cannabis in it. You could not have any cannabis in your facility, but that motherfucker had to be ready to turn on. Like they wanted you to like plug in machines and shit. That's how before they would license you for the DOH. And they checked your fucking your bank accounts and shit. So these new proposal or new things they're talking about are just kind of
they're similar to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm guessing they've been hot to trot over background checks and shit. So I'm guessing, they're gonna try to,
crack down on
those, supposed you got Larry Barker fucking saying the cartels fucking running shops and shit. So
I mean,
they're gonna put some
cartels run a lot of shops.
Of course, but they're gonna put some energy into somehow finding that information out. Good for them. But yeah, I think you're gonna see some different things happening, and I really hope it doesn't lead to overregulation.
Yeah. That would suck.
That it with motherfuckers not playing by the stupid fucking rules, you create this level for overregulation, and you create this spot where it's like, okay, if we would have just like followed this original shit, we wouldn't have these motherfuckers like 10 feet up our ass because they're overregulating everything and trying to fucking, change this, look for that, make this a rule, make silly fucking rules. I heard that, there's new label requirements out of nowhere. And why? The label requirements are already fucking strict. Like,
yeah,
you're going to start to see too many Band-Aids on the fucking wound to where you're just making a fucking mess and it's not taking care of the wound. And it just
changing the law won't make people follow the law.
No, it'll
adding more labeling requirements aren't going to get the people who aren't meeting the already strict fucking
it's
labeling
gonna fuck
requirements.
with the people that are doing it right.
Yeah,
it's gonna fuck with the people that are already compliant. Then they gotta change all their shit because, well, that's not compliant anymore. This is new compliance. Stick this fucking sticker over it. What if I don't fucking want to? What if I design this fucking package to look this fucking way to whatever the fuck reason I want?
And I love packaging. I love packaging. So it breaks my heart
for them to
stuff
say
like that.
Slap tag.
100%.
Say it reminds me of a fucking a brand new fucking painted wall or fucking, subway train with a bunch of fucking stickers on it, or Jesh is fucking so fucking, Jesh has a phobia of stickers on his nice clean electronics and his like computers and oh fuck yeah, I don't even know if phobia is the right word, but he has a trigger where if you put a sticker on his shit, he like loses his shit.
Oh, I bet.
He looks like
he'd
it's
lose
like
his shit.
slap tagging a brand new fucking Mac Pro fucking whatever.
Honestly, I'd probably do the same thing because I don't put stickers on like a lot of my stuff. There's very certain things.
Bro, I just paid $3,000 for this fucking beautiful titanium laptop. I'm not putting a fucking $2 sticker on it.
You know what? I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Would you put a sticker on your really expensive Heady piece?
No.
Okay.
Crazy, bro. Hold on,
dude. Somebody. So there's a funny story. So there's a guy, another one of my guys that was sitting at in the same area as Jesh, and we got some new stickers, and he like opened it and fucking slapped it, and I was like, oh hey bro, I don't know. You probably shouldn't put a sticker on it. He's like, what do you mean? You like it? And he's like, the stickers are dope. And I was like, yeah, Jess is a little touchy about stickers.
Bro.
And I designed the stickers.
And bro, you got your own.
I want to
You know
say,
what that's called, bro? That's called destiny. You got to let it play out.
I want to say that was my other guy's rebuttal. Was like, well, he designed the sticker. It's his logo. Like he designed the logo.
He deserved it.
And I was like, yeah, bro. Like, I don't know, man. Like, maybe we should take it off. I don't know. I don't know if you want to let him see that. He's gonna be pissed.
He comes back, it's all residue on it.
So we just shout out Oasis, man. They've been awesome. And they've just made a big order of the fuses. And one of my buddies went and got one and sent me a picture. And yeah, they put like another like label right over the whole like fuse label, and I was like, oh no. And it was,
damn, that'd break my
at
heart.
the end of the day, cool, I'm sure the one in the case, and they had to label it, they had to do what they had to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, you always hope that the dispo or the end seller is not gonna like put a big old sticker over your whole product.
Yeah, no, 100%, bro. It breaks my heart whenever I see like really good packaging. I'm like, oh, the freaking stickers.
So, back to the, original point is a lot of companies put a lot of time into their packaging and compliance and all this stuff. Literally when we, to the T of the law, when we go to put a new product out, my guys open the fucking regulations.
Yeah.
Like we decide our design, we decide what we're going to do. And then when we go to the compliance label, my guys open the regulations and start fucking reading. Like that, they know that to make this label fully compliant, they as the graphic designer, they as the whatever, need to understand the regulations, the laws, because they have a pride for the job they're doing. And they're like, I'm going to make this badass label. And I'm going to fucking know the laws so I don't look like an ass and be like, dude, why didn't you put the fucking, oh man, why didn't you put this warning on here or whatever? Like Jesh and the crew, they go through so much effort to create QR codes and, this legal information's here and click on this
and
to
how
fucking
about all
go here.
The checks and balances related to making sure that each label that goes on each package is correct.
Oh yeah, for all the
we go through
the dynamic stuff.
The label verification process here is crazy, man.
I fucking bet.
So to come in and fuck with that for any reason when we are following law, because my team's that fucking badass that they went and recited it before they designed this, to change any of that and make me do it fucking different is kind of fucking crazy.
Yeah.
That's because somebody else didn't do it.
Yeah.
Because somebody else had a fucking California label on it. Oh, well, we'll make... I don't even...
Yeah, what we need is enforcement. We don't need adjustments and additions to the law. We just need somebody to enforce the current set of laws. Yeah. That would be nice.
No. We really appreciate, shout out to them for cracking down on the ones that are fucking it up, for the ones fucking it up, for the ones that are doing it right and following their shit. And I think only time will tell. I think this is not an easy industry. It is not a get-rich-quick industry.
No. I talked to someone that wanted to open a dispensary the other day, and I told them they're crazy.
Yeah.
They would not be successful. I don't think it's a good time to open a dispensary. There's so many of them. It's insane. There's going to be a time that it's going to suck. It's going to suck.
So what do you think your future will look like?
I honestly don't know. I'm just taking it one step at a time. Like I said, the next goal is to start that documentary series and really start to really talk to people and try and get their story out there. And hopefully some people watch it and are inspired, and see a different side of them and or why they're successful or anything like that, which I just want to get that and make sure I do the best job I can on it. And then after that, I mean, I don't know. I'm just focused on that.
Cool. Well, we look forward to seeing that. Where can people follow you?
On Instagram, StoneheadNM.
Nice.
And then YouTube as well, since you're going to be pushing that platform soon.
Yeah, that's going to be on YouTube too. StoneheadNM.
Nice.
Just there now.
All right, cool. Right on.
Well, thanks for coming out. We appreciate having you.
I appreciate you guys. It was a blast.
And we hope you enjoy your trip back to Boat.
Welcome to the farm table.